Greetings, Flosstube. It's Trisha, the left-handed stitcher. I hope everybody's doing well. I've been doing pretty good. Just a little problem with some depression, but I managed, so you know, it is what it is. I'm here tonight to do an update. It's been about a month and a half since my last one, and I've been pretty busy, so I'm getting ready to drive up to Wisconsin for part of the summer, and I really didn't want to put this off until I got back, so tonight is the night to do it. I have a lot to show, not a lot, but I got a decent amount to show. I've been doing the stitchy things. So let's just get into it. The first thing I'm going to talk about real quick is the 29, countdown to 29 Sal. I did about 9 days of that. I had to miss a few of the days because I was traveling for the retreat, and it's not like you can cross stitch and drive at the same time. So I got 9 days in. I am not going to go through each one because most of those projects end up later on in the update, but the only one that doesn't, I will show you real quick, is my Balls Deep. It just got a little bit more of the border. This was for the Jesse's Favorite Colors Day, so there's that one. You'll see more of this later. It comes along slowly because I only stitch on it whenever something calls for it or I get the urge. Alright, so the next thing to show you, that it was not a 29 Sal. It's a project that I talked about before and I had misplaced it, so I couldn't show you. But I found it a couple of days ago and I FFO'd it. It is the little burst sampler that I did for my niece, or my grandniece? No. Anyways, my niece's baby, let's put it that way. And this is such a cute little stitch. I got the pattern off of Etsy. I don't think it's, the last time I checked she wasn't offering it anymore, so I don't know. Anyways, the frame is a stock frame from either Michael's or Joann's, and I did it using foam core and pinning it, stretching it with pins, and then I added, I have one of those point drivers, so it's well worth the investment because it makes doing this so much easier. So it's been fixed in there, dust cover. I added the hangers and everything, and a little message on the back. But I'm happy this is done, and that I can finally, I'll take it with me and I can gift it to them when I'm up there. So yeah, there's that. Alright, the next thing, I'm going to move on to the retreat. The first project that I worked on there, and I finished it, I'm going to show you, is the Innocent Guardian. There she is, all done. I added her halo of beads at the retreat, and then added my signature at the bottom. So she is done. Check that out. I was calling her my oldest whip, but she's not really. I will be showing you the oldest one next, but she is a good 14 years old. So yeah, she's done. So now the next thing is just to get her framed. I've actually shown her to my mother-in-law because you know how my life events recently have changed my perspective. Rather than keeping it a secret until I get it framed, I wanted her to see it. Because you know how life goes. Anyway, so there she is. She's done. Put her back in her tube. And then the next thing, just a second, there we go. The next thing I worked on and I finished, it's not FFO'd yet. That will happen when I get back from Wisconsin, but here it is. My Jim Shore Monogram J. I have added all of the beads that are on this thing. There is like hundreds of beads, but she's done. So pretty. I really enjoyed stitching this one. I'll probably do another one sometime, just not soon, sometime in the future. Let's see if did I remember to bring the booklet? No, I didn't. But again, this is from the Jim Shore Mill Hill book, the monograms. There's all of the letters, and then there's several options for borders and such in it. So if you want, just let me know. I will dig the book out of wherever it's hiding and show you in the next video. But there she is. So there's another finish. And then once I was done with that, I started working on what actually is my oldest whip. This was started in the early 90s. Is a little Susie Zoo project. I think it's actually called A Little Love, because the kit's words was put a little love in your heart, but I changed it because I think it just made more sense. So I stitched this for my Uncle Roger, and so I'm going to give it to him when I'm in Eau Claire. This one was framed by me. This is just a stock frame from Walmart, and this project is done, I guess, McKenna style with a little bit of variation. I added some batting to the back, some fusible fleece, and then I used my point driver to get it back into the frame. So there it is. Such a cutie. Alright, so then once that was done, the next thing I started, did I start it? I think I had this started before I went to the retreat, but I did the bulk of it and I finished it up while I was there. This is the May Blue Bird from Heart and Hand Collection, Monthly Mania. So there it is. This is done in DMCs. The design is actually charted in hand dyes, but it has conversions of which aren't always the greatest, so I did a little bit of tweaking to the colors. There it is. And then after that was done, I started, but I didn't finish it at the retreat. The next one is June Dragonfly. So I finished this one after I got home. There it is. So pretty. This is my favorite. I mean, because it's pink and it's June and it's a dragonfly. So that one's another finish. So like I said, I've been pretty busy. So I'm gonna get these mailed off to the World of Charity Stitching folks for their quilt. Another project that I worked on while I was at the retreat, this actually covered 2 days. Yeah, 2 days of the 29 Sal. It's my Joan Elliott Give Thanks. So he is come along. He's got feathers now. You can definitely see the turkey emerging. So there's that one. I work on him whenever Sal calls for him. He's a cute little project, and he goes pretty quick too. So there. And then the other project, it was not worked on while I was at the retreat, but it was started. and worked on for the last day of, so it's got 2 days within the 29 sal. It is the Remember You Are Braver. That whole poem. This is an Etsy pattern, but it's the same, it's pretty much the same one that you've seen in the Lizzie Kate, with one at the end. It's just a little bit different, but I'm doing this for my son, and I'm having fun with this. I just have to make sure I have a decent amount of light, given that it's on a really dark gray fabric, but the colors are so pretty. It's gonna go in a rainbow down, I think. So blue, green, yellow, orange. Anyways, that's what I've chosen to do. It was actually charted in like a monochrome, very gradient type thing. A little bit different, not quite, but that's what it was charted as, and I decided to change it. That's how far I've gotten on that pattern. Alright, the next thing is Stitch Mania. This year I started 2 projects for Stitch Mania, which is 2 more projects than last year. So it's definitely been an improvement. The first one is from this issue of Cross Stitch Collection, and it is a pattern by, is it Leslie Tier? Let me see. Doesn't say. Yes, Leslie Tier, it does. And I can actually show this. It is just the pattern, because it is truly a copyright-free pattern. It says it right here. It is this little guy, little hedgehog. And so I got started on him, and that's how far I've gotten. So, start number 1 for Stitch Mania, and start number 2 is this pattern. I've had this in my stash for many years. This was back when you'd see an ad in one of the cross stitch magazines that says, send a self-addressed stamped envelope and $1 to this address, and DMC would send you this pamphlet. So it's your big old fold-out pamphlet. It's called Willow. It has a real pretty depiction of a spray of pussy willows. And this thing, I've wanted to do it forever. I think, not now, it's kind of a long story, but I'll go into the entire story of this in a later video. But tonight, I'm going to show you how far I've gotten, and also show you a tool, a new tool that I have discovered via another Flosstuber. I believe it was Lucretia. She showed it in one of her videos, and that came in one of her one of the subscription boxes that is for sewing. And when I saw it, I kind of filed it away. And then when I was working on this project, because it is so big, I was struggling with corralling all the fabric into the grime guard. And when I was thinking about how to solve the problem, that popped back into my head, and I went, ooh. So I ordered some, and I'm going to show you it on the Q-snap, so I can show you the tools, and then I will pull it off the Q-snap. You can see the whole thing. But these are the things that she showed. They're called, is it spools? No. Darn it. I will look up the name and put it right there. But they're meant to hold the loose thread on your spool, so it doesn't get all unspooled. But they work great for this, for holding the roll of fabric in place so that I can get the grime guard on without having to wrestle with it too much. So there it is. So we'll take it off take it off the Q-snap now. And as you can see, I had to do a little bit more with 2 safety pins at the ends, but I'm working on another way of rolling the fabric that may make that unnecessary. I'll have to futz with it a little bit more to see how well it's going to work. In my head it works one way, but in reality it might work another way. So let's pull everything off. And they come in such fun colors. I love these things. They are just little rolls of silicone rubber that like to curl up like so, and then they just fit around things and hold. They're not real tight, they're just enough to hold the fabric in nice little rolls. So let's pull off the rest of the Q-snap, and I will show you how big this thing is and how far I've gotten. Alright. So, bear with me a second. I gotta unroll it and then hold it up. Here it is. This is how far I've gotten so far. But as you can see how big it is, definitely it's a lot of fabric to wrestle. But there it is. That's how far I've gotten. It's a lot of stitching, but I'm happy with my progress. This is being stitched on 14 count Aida. It is the recommended fabric from this old pattern. It is a color of DMC that is no longer produced. And because it's on 14 count Aida, I am stitching it using 3 strands of DMC for the cross stitches, the full stitches, and then there is some areas right here that are shading, like background, and they're half stitches, so I'm doing those with 2 strands. And I think that'll work out nicely. So there it is. So definitely a long-term project. I'm having a lot of fun. This is one that will go with me to Wisconsin. I know this one will go, Braver will go, and Hedgehog will go. I'm not sure other than that who's gonna go with. But those are the top ones. All right, let me move this stuff off to the side. I'm throwing stuff around. Good Lord, girl. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is my Stitchy Tracker. I have revamped the Stitchy Tracker, and I wanted to show you that. So this is it, the new one. It is, I used cardstock and I put scrapbooking paper over top, so I had a nice decorative cover. And this time, using the overlap of the scrapbooking paper, I folded it back up over to create little pockets on the inside. But let me show you what it looks like now. Alright, so as you can see, in May, I focused on a few projects. Now the changes that I made, I shaded alternately these lines so that as I got farther across, I wasn't worried about accidentally moving up or down a line from the project that I was trying to mark off. And I also added the numbers down at this part, so not only do I have numbers, once I get down here, I'll have numbers at the top move, you know, to work from, but also when I get down to the bottom here, I can just visually check to make sure that I'm right in the spot that I need to be in. But it's a lot easier with the shaded lines, rows. And then at the top, I also added a block here to write in the days of the week, because I found that it's just easier to keep track. Sometimes I don't know what date it is, but I know what day of the week it is. So that works out. Little space at the top for me to write the month and doodle a little bit. I plan on coloring doodles in later, but I did this a couple days ago, so I haven't gotten around to it yet. So, as you can see, I transcribed April over and May, or what was done in May at the time, and now I've prepped for June. I've also added at the bottom, I put in number of projects I started the month with, how many new projects were started during the month, how many were completed, and how many projects I'm ending the month with. I think that information will be nice to have ready at the end of the year for you know, the look back on the year. So, and then there's a little space at the bottom. I add any little notes. Like in May, I did two Stitch Mania starts. For April, I annotated that there was a retreat in Albuquerque. And then, so now June is ready. I haven't done any stitching so far, so there's no marks. As you can see, like I said, orange is prep, green is start, blue is working, and the pink, red is for when I complete a project. And then I'm also taking notes at the very back page, you know, just random stuff, like let myself know that when I FFO'd projects and, you know, the method in which I used, kind of thing. So I'm quite happy with how this is turning out. And I think that the changes that I made, they work well for me. I don't foresee any other changes that I might need to make, because I've put a lot of thought into this. What's gonna work for me? So here we go. My new Stitchy tracker. Because I started this in April, it only has to go through April to December, and then next year I'm gonna create a whole new book. So each year is gonna have its own book. I think that's the best way to do it. So there it is. If anybody wants the document that I used to create this, I would be happy to provide it. And then if you notice, the last day of the month, I didn't actually type in the number. So on the months that actually have a 31, I write it in. And then on the months that don't, I just leave it blank. Because I was noticing that on months that didn't have 31 days, if it was already written in, I was getting confused. So it just made sense to do it that way. And as you can see, my doodling skills are fairly rudimentary, but you know, I have fun doing it. And the more you do, the better you get, I think. And there's just certain things that are my favorite things to doodle. So some of these months I've already done, and some of them I'm still thinking on what I want to put in them, or how, you know. So for July, I put fireworks. When I get around to coloring them, they're gonna pop a little bit more, but that's what I thought of when I thought of July. So there that is. And so far right now, I've been using these on it. When I get around to coloring, I think what I'm gonna do, let me grab some I have a bunch of these markers from when I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So I'm going to pull out my marker stash, and I'm going to use these to color it. So, and when I get really ambitious, I do have some Copics, the lower priced ones. I forget what they're called, what model they're called, but I'd bought in a few sets some years back, but I just haven't gotten around to trying them. So when I get ambitious, I will do that. Alright, so the next thing is there will be no July retreat. I did not get the email that Stitches from the Heart sends out, and I didn't catch wind of them starting the sign-ups until a couple of days later from Facebook, and by that time it was too late. They were already full. So I let her know, you guys forgot me. She said she'd make sure that I was on the next one, and I know to keep an eye on it. I can't always trust. But the good thing is because of that, I don't have to worry about being back here at any time during July. So the trip to Wisconsin, I plan on staying at least through the 4th of July weekend. And as far as August, the beginning of August, it just depends on how much fun we're having, how things are going, how bad my back is and my neck is getting from sleeping on an unfamiliar bed. Right now it's an air mattress. She has an air mattress in the the guest room, and I think I may, unless she objects, I'm gonna offer. I really want to buy an actual bed for the guest room. Because that'll just. She actually has quite a few people stay at her house through the year. Family, friends, people come and stay. So I think that will be a good upgrade for the guest room. That will benefit not only me, but a lot of other people. So that might happen. Alright, so like I was saying, no July retreat, but it's up for the good, because then I can stay as long as I want. As long as, I feel that we need to stay in Wisconsin. My only restraint is to be back in time to get him ready for school year. So, there's that. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do haul. And then after haul, I have a surprise for everybody. So, for haul, the first thing that I'm going to show you is a pattern that I picked up at the retreat. It is a hindsight pattern. I think this one is a little bit older. It's hard to find data on it on the internet, but I think it's been around for a little while. It's called Stars and Stripes. It's such a cute pattern when it's stitched up, and it's done all in DMC. So that's the one I felt compelled to buy. Alright, the next thing is I got my Stitching Bits and Bobs monthly bits order. So these are the colors of the Petite Treasure braid that I got this month. And then my Crazy Annie Fabric of the Month Club that I get Picture This Plus through. This one is in, of course, like I said before, they're all Lugana 32 count unless I say different. This is the color version, and it is called Mint. It's a very, very pretty little spring green color. I like it. It's not so much mint, I don't think. It's more of a spring green, but everybody sees something a little different. Get that folded up. And then the neutrals. This one is called Earthen. It's a real nice bordering on terracotta, but it's very, very pretty. Definitely something that will find a project. Alright, so then the next thing, I got my fabric of the month from Silk Weavers. The first one is called Marine Blue, and this is gorgeous. It is a gorgeous blue that will definitely get a mermaid or something on it. It's gorgeous. And then the other one in this one is called Blue Haze. And it's weird. It's more of a green. It's a real sagey green. But I guess on the camera you can see a little bit of blue undertone to it. So that might be why it's called Blue Haze. But it's very, very pretty. Alright, and then the last thing that I'm going to show you for haul is I got my 1, 2, 3 stitch order. The beads that took a long time to get to me. I got them. As you remember before, I ordered these a second time and I got them quicker, so yeah. The fabric that they were waiting on, I saw this at the San Antonio retreat, but they didn't have it in 32 count. They only had 28 count. So I had to order it from 1, 2, 3 stitch, and it's so gorgeous. It's a 32 count Joblin, and this is dyed by Schelt, I think. Schelt or Zweigart. It's dyed by one of the main companies. It's called Summer Sky, and look at that. That is gorgeous. Such a subtle, cloudy day variation. I bought a whole yard because this thing this fabric will lend itself to so many different projects. But yeah, I was so happy to find it. Let's see if I can get, oh, but yeah, there you go. So pretty. So pretty. Alright, so that's the end of my haul. I've been pretty restrained because I've been saving up for the Wisconsin trip. So, not a whole lot past the monthlies that I'm already in. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Pass the Stash giveaway. So this will be my first giveaway, so you may have to bear with me with everything. Alright, so first thing I gotta say is don't use the word giveaway or enter me. Anything that will give it, draw attention to this by the trolls. Let's put it that way. If you use those words in your comment, I will delete the comment. It's the way we have to do it now. The second thing is you must be a subscriber, because this is for my subscribers. This is, something how to give back. Now if you are 18 and you win, we'll work out the details, how to get your parents' permission for me to send it to you. And I'm going to be doing 2 drawings. And the way I'm going to do it is if you are so lucky that you win both, then that's how it is. You win both. That's just how my personal view of how it should be done. Now I'm going to draw the winners of this when I return from Wisconsin. So it's going to be at least mid-July, maybe closer to August. But that'll give people plenty of time who are behind on Flosstube to get to this. And then I don't have to worry about doing the drawing while I'm on vacation. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to pass the stash is the Innocent Guardian. This thing is so out of print, so it made sense for me to pass it along. It's a Dimensions Gold Kit, Gold Collection. The pattern I made working copies, so the pattern is complete and unmarked. I did cut it apart a little bit with the instructions, so I still have the original color list and the backstitching order. Yep, this project has a boatload of backstitching, but it's very specific on how it's done. And I'm also including my working copy of that because you can see kind of how I kept track, how I broke it down even further. So you get those, the original other pages from the pattern, and then whoever wins we'll discuss it and decide on whether or not you want me to send you what I have left of the thread. It's a good bit of there's a lot of colors, let's put it that way. So this has a bit of weight to it. But I want to send it only if you want it, let's put it that way. So there it is. Drawing number 1, and how you enter for this one is the topic that I am putting forth is tell me about a book, a TV show, or a movie that has an angel in it that you really like. So just tell me something about some sort of media that has an angel that you like. And that's how I'll know that you want to enter for this beauty. So there's that one. And then the other one that I'm going to pass the stash on is my little Susie Zoo project that I've done. Because this one is also way out of print. So I want to pass it along, but there it is. This one also, the pattern is complete and unmarked. This one was fairly easy for me to follow without marking up the pattern, and then when I picked it back up recently I made a copy to work from. So clean pattern to work from, and then the colors did not have any sort of conversion to them. So what I did is I took the remaining colors threads that I had, and I used my DMC floss sample card, and I matched it up to the closest thing. And some of them were really, there was only a couple that were just slightly off. Most of them were right on spot. So I think they used DMC for this, and just because of how old it is, some of the formulas changed, so the colors kind of just a little bit different than they used to be. So I've written the DMC conversions to the side. So There it is. And then I can also send what's left over. There's not much left over, but if you want it, I will send it. There's drawing number 2. And what you'll need to put in your comment to say that you want to sign up for that one is tell me anything to do with an animal or a creature. Could be tell me about a pet that you have or have had. Tell me about an animal or creature that you saw in the zoo that you thought was super interesting. Tell me about a mythical creature, you know, in a story or something. Just anything to do with an animal or creature for that drawing. So there you go. I will obviously keep track of all the people that enter, so I'm ready to do the drawing when I get back. So that's it for tonight. I will see you guys in a couple of months probably. So until then, happy stitching, everybody.